Hello, RekItRaven.
Hi.
So,
Hi, friends.
everybody in my chat, this is RekItRaven, and I am so excited to have you on today. Um,
I'm so happy to be here.
yes, I'm gonna adjust your the filters on my window capture real quick because it's even darker in my capture, which is really kind of strange.
I will do the unthinkable and I will actually turn the light up for you.
Oh my goodness, how dare! I actually want the contrast up though too, and the saturation. There we go.
It's
I don't know
bright.
why. I don't know why. It was just a little bit less.
It's okay.
It was just a little bit less bright on my end. I don't know why, but
That's okay.
it looks
I,
gorgeous
I
either
I
way.
choose to be dark and edgy, and I know that everybody has to they're like, can you turn the light up just a little bit? I'm like, I mean, I could,
I could, but
but
why?
will I?
So if you're in my chat and you've never heard of RekItRaven, well, first of all, if you're in my chat, you probably have heard of RekItRaven because I am on the Underworld charity stream team, which is part of what I want to talk about today too. I actually, believe it or not, you're one of the people, Raven, that I've spoken to in real time many, many times, which is not always the case with the people that I have on my Friday chat segments. And so I actually know a lot about you, but there are still plenty of questions I have. And so before we dig into the underworld stuff, which I definitely want to tackle, would you mind giving everybody a description of your channel and your content?
Sure. I mean, I call myself a wholesome goth, right? So I am your wholesome goth friend on the dark corners of the internet, because we are still that's where we still are, right? Like we don't actually have. We're still in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
Whether people want to believe that or not, that's what it is.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
So I do a lot of really chaotic shit. I play a lot of horror games, although that's kind of dwindled a little bit because I play a lot of TTRPG stuff. That is my go-to lately. I also do a lot of Final Fantasy because, sure, I can look like I'm going to end the world, and I probably will, but I just want to play cute things, so leave me alone.
I love that. I absolutely love that. I think
But
oh,
I
go ahead.
think
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Like another thing that I do is we do talk about a lot of real world stuff. So we talk about politics and we talk about the Supreme Court decisions and we talk about racism and we talk about LGBTQIA2 plus issues and just marginalized issues as a whole, whether it is, being disabled or neurodivergent or of color. We talk a lot about it because I know growing up I wasn't allowed to. And I know that that is a similar story in our generation. So though we have fun and it is a wholesome place, I don't ever say that I'm a safe space. I don't ever say that I'm cozy because we don't talk about safe things.
Yeah.
We do it in a safe manner, but we do have a lot of topics that are considered not safe to discuss.
Yeah, and that's something I absolutely wanted to touch on with you is that a lot of people can say a lot of shit, they can tweet a lot of things, but they don't then take action. One of my favorite things about you, and I actually started following you before you started the Underworld charity team, probably just months, literally before you and Lash co-founded that, but I see tons of people. They want to say what they want to say, and it's totally fine, but then they don't put their money where their mouth is, and they don't take any action. And then literally, you are the opposite of that. You are going to say every single thing that you need to say in the best possible way for you to say it. You know exactly what I mean. And like, yes. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. That is
Yes.
absolutely correct.
Oh, I need a fan. How dare. And so
Sorry, I used the wrong one. I used the wrong one. Here we go. All right. there we go.
yes, hello, uglies. Yes, Boulay. And so not only do you say all the things you need to say and you're making an impact quite literally in that way, you then turn around, you put together a stream team, which has now, I don't know, over 50 members, I think, as of the last app opening and closing and accepting and blah, blah, blah. And we as a team have raised a lot of money. We have taken a lot of action, and that's a huge testament to your work, period. You know, there would be no stream team without, I know you and Lash co-founded, but there would be no literal stream team if you weren't partnering, if you'd started to gain that platform and all those things, if that makes sense.
Well, thank you for saying that, because I'm not going to lie to you. I always feel like I don't do anything. Like, I always feel like I do too much and nothing at all. Right? So I am very quiet. Like, I don't say a lot to most people because I genuinely am just trying to keep things in order. And for anybody who has ADHD or any type of neurodivergency that affects like executive function, you understand how hard that is. But I want to do more, right? And I'm learning to find the balance of doing and allowing myself to recoup.
Yeah.
So I am taking longer periods of time to just like chill, but I wasn't, honestly, like, I'm not going to pretend to be like this miraculous person where I'm like, yes, I'm amazing. I've done these things my whole life. I didn't. You know, 5 years ago, I was an asshole. I mean, I'm still an asshole, but now I'm a productive one. But there are moments in your life that really put things into perspective. And I had one of those. Almost 3 years ago now, I had one of those. And that was when I decided that life is too short. I don't know that I have tomorrow. I could be gone after we're done here. You know what I mean? And I have little people who don't deserve the world that I inherited.
Yeah.
And if they choose to have little people, those little people don't deserve to have the world that their parents inherited. Until it is a place that is fully equal for everybody. And if I die tomorrow, I want to know that I died living my best life and doing things that may benefit future generations. I don't expect the seeds that I've planted to be harvested in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's an important part about activism, because there are people who are like, yes, I'm an activist. I'm going to do these things and it's going to happen. And that's not the case. This is a long haul, right? This is a choice.
Yeah.
And I am okay with that. And I want to create spaces where other people are okay with that, where we can still have these conversations because they are so necessary, but with the understanding that we are doing so, passing the knowledge down to people who may be able to carry that torch when we are no longer here.
Yeah. And teaching future generations how it's not simple, but how simple just talking about something out loud is, as opposed to never talking about it. Like a lot of us were told, you don't talk about that. Don't talk about this. Don't talk about that, because it's going to cause conflict. Well, at this point, we all have to talk about it. It's causing so much conflict that it's affecting every single facet of our well-being. And so we don't want future generations to just not talk about it. Just saying something alone and deciding, like, I don't know when my brain, probably in college for me, I went to a pretty liberal university. So I started really thinking about things in terms of, not so much politically, but socio-economically, politically, all the different facets of that, if you will, probably around the time when I was 18, 19, 20. But kids now are thinking about that so much earlier. They're seeing TikToks at them. They're 11 years old and they are consuming political TikToks, and younger. Kids with iPhones or whatever, they're not necessarily 11. They're younger than that too. So it's exactly, David, not talking about it is how we got to that point. Yes, exactly that. And so I absolutely love that about you, Raven. And you are hugely you're a huge inspiration for me in that way, because I've always been transparent, but streaming and being transparent is like a whole other level of transparency that nobody ever knew existed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think
It's
yeah, you can be
real.
transparent on your social media. That's fine. But being transparent in real time at many people in high definition, you know what I mean? It's a different thing than typing up a post that took you 2 hours to type and then you click post and then you watch comments come in. It is a very different situation and I don't try to get too heavy a lot. I am not as outspoken in that way that you are, because mentally I can't. Like, I would probably have to take a 2-week break every 2 weeks. Like, I don't think that, like, mentally I am not terribly capable of that, but I do go in when I need to go in. And I'm super honest with people. Like today, I put out on my Instagram, I'm like, y'all, I got low spoons today. Like, I am so excited to talk to Raven, but I don't know how capable I am of making music today. That's just, and it's the whole world. It's everything. It's the busyness that my life is again, but also everything going on right now. And so it's a lot. Yeah. And you were one of the first people, and I said this to my chat earlier before you were on, but I only have people come chat with me on Fridays who inspire me in some way. And you very much inspired me to, well, I have a list of things you inspired me to do. That's not a joke. But one of those things is your incredible transparency and just your incredible ability to just be yourself and also keep yourself accountable. One of the first people that I was like, okay, yeah, you can be wrong and also be accountable. Don't hide. We love you. Stop hiding.
I'm not hiding. Listen, I'm dead inside and I refuse to allow the color of blush to pierce my cheeks. This is terrible.
But seriously, like, you are a true inspiration probably for a lot of streamers, and for me, my journey on Twitch has been really unique because it started off in gaming and now it's in music, and that is like not most people's journeys. And so on top of you being super transparent, I think you were the first person whose branding impressed me. Like, I was just like, oh, I can be purple everything? I didn't know that. Like, it never occurred to me that, like, personal branding is just, it's so obvious. Like, if you like this one thing, lean into it. I talked with Zombunny about this too. Like, I didn't lean into my own personal branding I didn't lean into it as quickly as I'd wanted to, if that makes sense. And then I saw people like you, like Zombunny, who had this beautiful branding. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm doing this wrong. I'm not. I was like changing my scenes depending on what I was playing or singing or doing. And it was exhausting. But I was like, okay, but like Dead by Daylight should be fiery. So like every single thing I did had a different scene. Like, no joke.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
so much. I don't even know. Like, thinking about that gives me heartburn. I need you to understand. Like, that is so much.
It was absolutely a lot. But coming from the branding perspective, I would love to know if you'd like to share, like, where did the name RekItRaven come from? See, the inception of that.
Okay.
This is loaded. I'm ready.
Buckle up,
I'm ready.
This is a story.
All right, I got my tea.
Story.
I got my tea. I'm ready.
So, way back when, I started off as Raven Pones.
Okay.
It was a moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. I decided that I didn't really like that. So then I changed it to RekItRaven, which was funny, right? That was cute.
Yeah.
That was gonna be who I was. Like, get wrecked. Like, you're terrible. Because I'm not good at games, right? That was my platform. I'm not here to be good at things. I'm just here to show up and make you laugh. And so at the time, like, I was using 2 separate browsers to manage the bot account, which was Patrick Botman.
Yes.
If you get the joke, I love you. I will consensually kiss you on the forehead. If not, and then I had the browser that was managing my account. Somewhere along the lines, they got mixed.
Oh.
So I was changing the variation of the bot. Like I was just making the O a 0.
Uh-huh.
And it ended up changing my account name. So I was no longer RekItRaven, I was Patrick Botman. And you could not like get your name back for 6 months.
Oh
but
God.
you could change it every 6 weeks.
Oh.
So for 6 weeks of my life, I was stuck as Patrick fucking Botman.
That's okay.
And I was like, this is
but
bad.
But no, I disagree. It's incredible. I disagree.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was. I made the best of a bad situation, but that's not me. I'm Raven.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like
yeah.
freaking out, and like Twitch was not any help. They're like, there's nothing we can do. I was like, oh.
Great, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And when was this?
Thanks.
Just for the timeline perspective.
This was late 2018.
Okay. I love Patrick Botman.
So then,
for you. Yes.
So then I was just going through it. I was like, what am I gonna do? I was like, well, you know, Wreck-It Ralph's a thing. I can do RekItRaven, but not spell it the same way. That sounds kind of cute. And I was like, or you know, I can try to do Get Wrecked Raven again. And people were like, no, you better do RekItRaven. That's hysterical. And I was like, all right, say less. So that when I was able to change the name, that's what I did.
That's incredible.
Then RekItRaven was born. Right? So now it's just, oh, that's RekItRaven. And it's weird because it was a mistake of a name.
Yeah.
Right? But that's me now. And so I'm just like, okay, cool.
That is incredible. I love that. So I always wondered, as if I couldn't have asked you at any time, like as if we don't have open DMs, like I could have asked you literally why at any point, but I love that it has to do with Wreck-It Ralph. Like I love it. I love that movie.
Yeah, I mean, well, because the name Raven initially, like, I wanted to be Raven because, one, I'm obsessed with Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. That was, like, my introduction to, like, really exploring the darker side of literature, which I am a huge fan of. And Raven from Teen Titans, because, hello?
Okay.
That's a demon. She's the anti-hero. She's edgy. It made sense. So that's why it was, like, anything that I wanted had to do with that. Like I don't know how well y'all could see it, probably not that well, but I even have like a Raven tattoo.
Yeah,
like it is very much me. So yeah, like I, no matter what I wanted, like I could literally like change my name, but it would still be Raven.
Yeah,
not that I would, because now there's a whole brand behind it, but
yeah. It
was funny.
Would you change your name to something else if the branding didn't matter at this point? Just out of curiosity. That wasn't on my list of things to ask, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, Dami Mommy. Just kidding. Stop. Let me leave.
No, leaving. It's over. I'm switching.
No, honestly, I think if I were to change anything, it would just be Raven.
That's actually how I feel too. I'm like, if I got branded well enough here and got partner and stuff, I'm like, I kind of would just want to be Erin if possible. Like, it's not as cool of a name as Raven, but I actually feel the same way. Mine isn't dramatic. It's Raven. Mine is just Erin. Like,
I mean, but mine's not dramatic either. People make it dramatic. Like I don't bring the drama unless
fair.
You know, calling shit out is bringing the drama, and then absolutely I bring that shit. You know, but like. I just show up. That's I think specifically you, like your name has impact. Because there have been times where I have, you know, I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna go, you know, or I've talked to Erin, they're like, oh, EBX Erin? I'm like, absolutely.
Who the fuck?
So your name has impact. Don't sell yourself short. Because I will literally fight you. Like I know where your DM is at, okay? Like I will fight you.
Literally, if anybody can find me, it's the Underworld staff. It's literally y'all can find me the easiest out of anybody, probably. I needed to hear that though. That actually just gave me like the happy sweats. I appreciate you on that.
I love the happy sweats. You get sweats, I get chills. I'm just like, woo,
I get sweats, woo. And then dad just has to be dad. Period. I think that's the only person in my life who was like, well, you can't take EBX out of your name because then I have to change my name. I'm like, literally, you don't.
Just dad.
Just dad. People would be like, who are you? My dad?
Right?
Oh, that's funny. So out of curiosity also, since we were kind of getting into the backstory of your name, where it came from, when and why did you first get into streaming on Twitch?
So I initially here it is, y'all. I initially got into streaming because I at the time didn't know I had ADHD, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just knew that people found me annoying and didn't want to hang out with me because I talk a lot. I was unmedicated, so I say what's on my mind. There's no filter,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or like I have rejection sensitive dysphoria, I believe. I think that's the word. I don't know. There's a lot of terms.
Yeah.
But so somebody would be like, "Oh, well, I guess you can," and I would take that as a y'all don't want me there, so I'm not gonna go, you know. So I was like, well, I am a gamer. Like a lot of my gaming took place in things like World of Warcraft or like MMORPGs, where I was like role playing these people that were not me, and like I was with somebody at the time who was streaming. And so like when I brought it up and I was like, hey, like I've been thinking about, starting this, their response to me was, no, that's my thing.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, okay. Watch me.
Yeah.
And now here I am. And where are they? Nowhere. It's fine.
That's amazing.
I will throw that in their face.
I don't blame you.
I will Salt Bay that wound. Don't care.
Yes. Just like that.
Well,
That's awesome though. And so you have found in your I don't want to really call it need, but in that moment of you trying to find a tribe that doesn't find you quote annoying, because that's just what you were feeling at the time, you found and created an incredible community. Like there aren't tons of gamers specifically on Twitch that have welcoming communities. It's not always the easiest thing. Like it took me a long time to realize that the Twitch music scene is very different than the gaming scene in general, regardless of what game you're playing. And so one of the things I did want to touch on with you today is, how do you think streaming has helped your mental health positively since you started that journey?
Honestly, it's very sobering, right? I used to think I was defective as a person. Like, I was not a person that deserved to be in spaces because I was just annoying. I just took up more space than I was given, right? So I would make myself small. I think in this space in particular, because although I do gaming, like I've taken a pretty substantial turn out of the gaming space in Twitch. People are like me, right? I've created a community that I've never seen before. I made sure to make my own space and take it because I deserved it. And when I had people who were around me and who continue to be around me, who share their own mental health journeys, it's so validating because, and I say this a lot, it's always been bigger than me, right? It has always been bigger than me. Everything I do is bigger than who I am and me as an individual person. I am able to connect with people on levels that help me understand my own mental health. You know, I have unpacked so much trauma since my time on Twitch because I have a space where I'm allowed to talk about these things, where things come up and it's like, oh my God, that's why I do this.
Yeah.
That's why I feel this way. Like a big one for me that I did not realize and would not have learned without Twitch and the community that I've created and the communities I find myself in is I genuinely hate dad jokes, right? Like I think that they are good. They have a time and a place, but if somebody responds to me purely with like puns, I cannot explain how much it infuriates me.
That's interesting.
And it wasn't until talking about that in real time with my community that I was like, holy shit. My dad, rest his soul, love him. He's an amazing person. Anytime that I would try to have a serious conversation, it was never serious because he was always joking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't fucking know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. And I sat there live
Yeah.
for a whole minute like, oh my God.
Yeah. Because all you were trying to do was having a conversation. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly unpacking things. I'm constantly, you know, surrounding myself with people who allow my quirks to be just that. Like it's not the defining piece of information that they see about me as a person that would make them think that I am one way or the other. Mm-hmm. I've been allowed to peel back these layers. And I think that that has helped me substantially grow. And I'm so like thankful.
Yeah.
Because there's not many times in my life where I've been in a space where I've felt safe enough to genuinely unpack a lot of those things that I've repressed from, you know, childhood. Like, because I'd say everything in my childhood happened when I was 5 or when I was 9. Like, nothing else exists.
Yeah.
But now things are starting to exist.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting to understand why.
Yeah. And that's absolutely the mental health advocates that I have met through Twitch, like, is exactly where this kind of intersects with, like, I have had the same experiences. And well, before I continue, I want to say our chat is filled with dad jokes, but y'all are good at reading the room. If I am having a serious ass conversation,
and that's fine.
Yeah, if I'm having a serious conversation and somebody says something dumb, Trish actually just deletes that shit. Like, hello, she's literally being serious. But y'all are like, I obviously, when we're having silly conversations, dad jokes are like, I love them. I don't steer away from them. But within a serious conversation, yeah, I'd be pissed off. If somebody did that, I'd be like, literally read the room, leave. Like, I don't care if you're my friend or not. Read the damn room. Like,
and for me, some of the hardest parts is like, I know that neurodivergency is as much of a scale as like gender identity or sexual orientation, and I get that. But I don't do well with nothing but dad jokes. Like, if we are having a conversation and like, or like, I'm like, hey, good morning, you know, good time zone, hope everyone's well, and you hit me with a dad joke off the bat, I'm like, I'm not talking to you for the rest of the fucking day. I'm really not. Like,
I don't blame you. Yeah.
Why? Right? And I do understand that some people with, you know, different shades of neurodiversity, that's how they relate. And like, for me, it just makes me mad. So like, I've been better about like really setting that boundary and openly discussing my needs with people too, which is a good thing that I've learned from this community building, this space. So it's like, hey, like, I know that your intention is to be jovial and funny. I don't find it funny. I'm not always there for the dad jokes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of really good things to come out of like being on Twitch. Considering
you have had a journey on Twitch and content and social media in general. So that's a fair, you know, considering,
you know,
but yeah, I will say that's one of my, that hasn't come up. I think you're the 13th person to be on my Acco Taco about it. And I don't think anybody has really touched on that. Exactly like what you just said, like having learned so much and being better about saying your needs, you know what I'm saying? Communicating your needs out loud to people. And I know that that's something that I hugely have gained from being on Twitch is my boundary setting between the pandemic and Twitch, both combined. My ability to set boundaries and communicate my needs have just skyrocketed. And that goes for like me and Trish, that goes for me and my band, that goes for anybody that, and people will know if I'm DMing with somebody and I gotta go, I'll be like, hey, I can't talk right now, I'm really sorry. Like, regardless of the situation, like, people around me have learned, like, I'm not gonna set myself on fire for any reason at this point. And people got used to me pre-pandemic setting myself ablaze regularly. I had a specifically toxic employer, so did Trish actually, and we were both able to kind of leave quietly and undramatically because of the pandemic. And you don't really realize how bad your boundary setting and communication is about your boundaries, about your needs are, until you start to surround yourself with people who actually get it and respect them. Like, Twitch opened that door for me. And I really think you're the first person to touch on that. So I'm very glad that you said that. And thank you, Irene, for the biddies. And by the way, if y'all know, I am looking at the chat the entire time. I don't respond to every little thing, but I am reading every little thing. So I'm still very much present in chat, as is Raven, I'm sure, because that's what we do. That's, if we're going to be on somebody's thing, we're always like, okay, gotta have the chat open.
I got the chat open. I'm reading too. I'm like,
oh yeah,
okay, I love you. But I also type like a freaking monster, so I don't want to do that because then everybody's gonna hear every keystroke.
I know.
So.
That's one of my favorite things about your stream is just the constant, like, I can't do it because I don't have a keyboard in front of me that I can do that on. But Trish, you could probably hear Trish in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
She's just out of earshot, and she has a microphone too. So all you hear is her aggressive.
I regret nothing.
I love it. I'm here for it. That's
I know.
fine. Aggressive, keyboarding. That's an extreme sport here on Twitch.
Absolutely. So yes, boundaries are very important. Me and Stackers were just talking about that the other day. I was having a really rough day considering, the week. I was having a day. I was having to ignore things in order to keep my own mental health straight. I had a full band stream on Saturday. I had a stream on Friday last week. Like, it just was not easy. And you had two directions to go. Either try to be a space that does not acknowledge anything for your own safety and for everybody else's in the chat, or you went the exact opposite route, which I love. Again, not for me. I'm the person who needs to disassociate till I can digest it. But you went full force, and it's just so interesting. Like, we are so alike in so many ways, but on those two radical ends of the spectrum, you were like, no, we got to talk about it now, right now. And I'm like, nope, nobody talk to me. I have to sing and look pretty, and let me just digest this as I go. But in both of our separate ways, we talked to our communities and was like, this is what I need to talk about it, or
absolutely,
I need to really not talk about it, And those are things that I don't think I would have ever, 2.5 years ago, I don't think I would have been able to even, I would have just sat on the couch in a ball. Like, how do I exist? How do I tell people that I'm okay, but am I not? Like, now I have the verbiage. I have the words in my mouth.
Yeah.
To actually say it.
Yeah. And I think it's important to kind of touch on that, right? There's no one right way to process things.
Yeah.
Because people will get so like, well, you didn't say anything about X, Y, and Z. I wasn't ready to say anything about X, Y, and Z. I will do it on my own time. Just because you see me saying things about things doesn't mean that I am obliged to your schedule. That's not how this fucking works.
Yeah.
Right? So it's important to be at a spot where you feel like you're comfortable to say these things. If you choose to say these things, right? For me, like, I know that I had to talk about it because there was so much emotion behind everything. And I knew that if I didn't talk about it then, I wasn't going to. Only because I have a lot of pregnancy and delivery trauma.
Yeah.
Right?
And I personally know that story. I'm not asking you to go into it, but I know that there was some trauma attached to this. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, if you don't, I'll say it. I don't care.
If that's on your terms. Yeah, your terms. So you do you.
Um, so the TLDR is when I was pregnant with my daughter, my youngest, a lot of my maternity care was subpar. There was a lot of room for a diagnosis that was not diagnosed. And because of these things, and I was mishandled in the hospital too with certain things.
Yeah.
But I almost died in delivery. I bled out, right? I lost a lot of blood. And those are memories that I can't stop playing.
Yeah.
That's what happens. You know, like you don't get close to making out with death on his front patio and not having any effect from that, right? So I know for me, this was hard because I've already stated, like, if there was ever an accidental pregnancy, I cannot go through with that.
Yeah.
I can't. Mentally and physically, I cannot. My body is entirely too small to carry children, which I have been proven twice now, right? So I knew that if I didn't talk about it, I was just going to shut down and I was going to spiral. I did start spiraling towards the end of that stream, but I was able to work out a lot of the feelings I had prior to getting there.
Yeah.
So when I did spiral, it wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Yeah.
So that's for me. And that's the way that I handle things. And that doesn't work for everybody. And I think it's important to understand that it is okay to go on your own timeline. Like nobody in this world can push anybody into doing something they don't want to do, period. And if they're trying to, get the fuck rid of them. Like, they're not worth it.
No. And it was people who like you, there were so many people speaking out immediately. I had to bury it for a couple days because I can't sing and be distracted. I can in a really like kind of way, like as if somebody's doing dumb shit in the chat. That's one thing, but mentally distracted is a whole separate thing when it comes to performance. And so because of people like you who did start early in terms of like sharing their feelings and being really honest, it helped me a lot. It helped me process a lot because it was something that I couldn't wrap my mouth around. I couldn't wrap my brain around it. I couldn't really wrap anything around the whole everything going on. So this week has been particularly exhausting, to say the least.
Yeah.
And that's on top of extra work that I had scheduled this week. Like I had extra studio stuff scheduled this week. Like it doesn't stop just because the collective conscience is really, really fucked up right now for a lot of people. Yes, Lash. Exhausting. Like extra exhausting. I know Fen has said the same. Fen has said the same thing. I know. I said it, Fen. I couldn't stop myself from saying it, but I'm not going to re-say it. If you didn't hear it.
I mean, I wasn't going to judge you.
But you know what I mean? So I use that very clearly because you can have your brain wrapped around a lot of things, but it doesn't mean you have the words for it yet. And I think that the way I just said it totally I couldn't wrap my mouth around it. Pardon me. But yeah, that's for me, that's really true. I can mentally be in one place and still not know how to actively talk about it. And I wish that I could get on a screen and work it out in front of people. That is not, I go inward a lot of the time. But I applaud you for doing that. Like, I know that you did it for you, but it helps everybody around you too. And I don't know if you know that, but
I applaud
it's true.
you for taking care of yourself and doing what you needed to do in the moment.
Thank you. It didn't feel very good to not be one of the people not saying anything. No, wait, you know what I'm saying? But I do. I have to take care of myself.
Because at the end of the day, if the plane goes down, you still have to put your oxygen mask on first.
Yes, and that's the best way to put it. Honestly, it's the best way to put it.
You cannot make sure that anybody else is okay if you yourself are not okay.
Mm-hmm.
That has been like one of the highlights of my career on Twitch, like understanding that, specifically that.
Yeah.
Because I will give. And now I'm at a point where it's like, yeah, I'll give. And I'll give. And if you decide that you're going to keep taking and it's just going to be a one-way street, then we're good.
Yeah.
Make sure you're okay first at the end of the day, period.
Yeah. And I think that this whole week has been a kind of an exercise in that, because it's, you know, you got to make money too. So it's at what cost do you, you know, like the chronic pain issues and how your mental health actually triggers that stuff, and then the chronic pain triggers your mental health stuff. Like this whole last month, well, today it's July now, but the whole month of June was so mentally and physically exhausting for me that I'm just like, I'm gonna shut everybody out over the weekend. I'm like, you're the last person I'm talking to, Raven. That's it.
I feel it. I'm very much there.
Mm-hmm. And I'm honestly just really grateful that you're the person I'm talking to about this today. Somebody, well, you're not cozy, you're comfy for me. Like, you're a comfortable person to talk to. Does that make sense? Like,
I'll take that. Yeah,
you're
no,
uncozy.
I can get behind that. I can, because I am not a cozy individual. Let's be honest. I can be very comfy, right?
Yeah.
For the right people, because there's a lot of people who are going to find me and what I do inherently uncomfortable, and that's good, because you are the people who should be uncomfortable by me.
Yeah.
Which is,
honestly,
you know, cis white men. Anyway, that's fine.
No, but I challenge that too in a totally different way. I will say, and I don't know, tell me if you agree or disagree. Before streaming, I couldn't say half the shit that I could say to people IRL now. And now I say things that I would have like never said IRL to people. And I'm like, wow, did that come out of my mouth? And then it comfortably came out of my mouth. Have you had that same experience?
Yes, especially with last year, right? Everything that happened. I am very much like, I don't care about your feelings right now.
No.
If that makes me the bad guy, that makes me the bad guy. Like, I will say what I say. I humble myself when I am wrong, and I say something that is wrong, because I think that is important. As a person, you need to grow, and fighting change is not going to make you a better person, right?
Absolutely.
Period.
Yeah.
So I will very much be like, look, this isn't it. This is not the way. It's not the way. Like, I just had to deal with a situation too, where like two people were obviously upset about each other, exchanging feelings and like cussing each other out, and then came to me and I was like, first of all, what we're not going to do. You know what I mean? It's like, we're not going to do this. Like, sure, you're allowed to feel this way, but just because you feel this way and this is your perception doesn't make it reality, and vice versa. Like, we can share space with people that we don't enjoy, but what we're not going to do is call each other out our names and start dragging people through the mud, because that's messy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I wouldn't have said that years ago. You know what I mean? I would not have said that. I'd be like, guys, maybe we could just stop fighting, you know? Like, And now I'm very direct about it, because I don't have time. I don't.
And the best thing is for me, and this goes for IRL or just like video chat or text, whatever, I realized the way I was speaking, you try to pussyfoot around things and then you accidentally don't say what you mean. And you edit yourself in a way that you were protecting some version of yourself before. And literally, since working so wholeheartedly to be authentic on Twitch, I find myself able to communicate in a really direct way. When I used to type, like, you literally say like, or I mean, or, you know, or in passing DMs, I'm still going to do that. But when I want to communicate something,
obviously.
When I'm trying to communicate something, I will literally say, please don't misunderstand this text. I'm saying X, Y, and Z. I am not saying X, Y, and Z, because sometimes text specifically can be really polarizing when somebody will read attitude into a text when it's not there. Or vice versa.
Because that's what they put their own fucking attitude in there. I swear to God.
Yes. And people,
I've become a psychologist in the last 2 years. I just want you to know.
It's
Just kidding.
Feels
I'm not a licensed psychologist.
Okay, Joy, calm down. But yeah, it's
not my wife.
Being direct. Lash said being direct and succinct doesn't get lost in translation or get open. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't get open for interpretation. It cannot be perceived in any other way when you're saying factually, I did not mean it this way, and this is how I mean it. It happened in my band group text this morning. You know, we're talking about getting onto shows and weighing the actual risk of them. What's the point in doing this show? But that via text can come off really negatively. And my own personal feedback from many of my loved ones trying to help me communicate better have said I can come off negatively. So anytime now that I am putting cons out as opposed to pros, you know, trying to play devil's advocate about something, I'm like, please don't misunderstand. I don't feel negatively about this. I'm just throwing out all the negatives. Like, you know, and it's hard because I never knew, you know, once the pandemic began, it became very clear that we had to very much up our games communication wise. There's no body language anymore unless you're going to get on a video call all the time. There's no body language. So I feel like my text communication breakdown just fucking spiraled. It spiraled so many times with people in my life. It just didn't come out the way it, you know what I mean? It just got totally messed up because it was via text. And so I think Twitch has definitely helped me. It's being more succinct and being more direct for sure. And you're one of those people who's helped me do that. Like I watch your gears turn while you're on stream. Like I'm watching you think, if that makes sense. Like it's very interesting to watch you think and speak.
I do this thing where it's like I start talking and then I look specifically up and to the right and I'm like trying to find the words. I know. I feel it when I do it. And in that moment, it feels like it's like 30 seconds to a minute and it's only like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But it's true, especially now that I do have my ADHD diagnosis, where I know that I can be abrasive about things. I'm trying to find that happy medium of saying what I mean, meaning what I say, and doing it in a way that doesn't come off as combative.
Yes.
Although, if you cross me, I will fucking come at you.
And that's fair.
But you will know the difference. You will know the difference. It won't be a conversation like, well, I understand where you were coming from. I understand that maybe that wasn't your intent, but this is how it reads. It would be like, now what I'm going to tell you is you need to sit down and shut the fuck up. Because you're wrong. Right? So like there's two different things. And I feel like being on Twitch has helped me find that balance of knowing where to really put the time and energy and effort into somebody and when to just shut something down and cut it off at the pass.
Yeah. And finding that balance is almost impossible. As soon as you started to say, what's that balance between being direct, but also being told you're being abrasive when all you're trying to do is be direct? When you find it, tell me.
Listen, I am a black femme presenting person. I could say something with the utmost excitement and I would be labeled an angry black woman. Yeah. And I don't care, right? Like, because at that point, those people, and this is kind of where you know, I've learned a lot on Twitch as well. People are going to want to make you into what they think you are, regardless of if that's who you are or not.
True. Yeah.
Right? So I had an interaction with somebody where I had posted something along the lines of, like, if I am calling you my friend, there is this unwritten agreement that we hold each other accountable because you are now in my inner circle and I am in yours. I don't go around calling everybody my friend. I don't do that because that is false. I have acquaintances, I have friends, I have best friends, right? That's where we are. Mm-hmm. I keep my circle small for a reason. So if you are in my circle and you are calling me a friend and I am calling you the same thing, it means that if I am doing something wrong that has made you uncomfortable, I expect you to tell me about it and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So somebody, I posted that in not as many words, but somebody had the audacity to tell me that I was narcissistic and because I was relying on my friends to be my therapist. And I was like, okay, babe. I got the time. I put my petty hair on today. Let's fucking go.
Yes.
because I'm gonna make you look real stupid. You cannot call somebody a narcissist for relying on somebody to hold you accountable in the moment when you have messed up. You can't do that. That's what friends are for.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm a narcissist because I have people that I rely on to give me feedback on things that I may or may not do properly, because sometimes I have a hard time reading those lines. Like, the math isn't mathin'. Like, please,
yeah.
for the love of all that is unholy, make it make sense.
Mm-hmm. And if you were somebody who was
you can't do that, then get the fuck off my timeline.
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing wrong with wanting to be held accountable for actions that you may or may not have done in order to cause harm to somebody, right? Mm-hmm. I want to change that behavior if that is something that I have done, that I've caused harm to somebody. That doesn't make me a narcissist.
Yeah. Right. And that only makes you a narcissist if you're literally not doing the work and you're showing signs of literally not caring about the people around you. It's like MFR just said, I think that's quite the opposite of narcissism, is you actively doing self-work to figure it out and have the best balance in your life and being open for criticism. All the narcissists in my life don't want to hear shit from me.
That part.
Yeah.
And I will say the other thing that I did say with that was, I don't respect people who say that they're my friends and then go ahead and subtweet me. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. If you could tell it to everybody else, then you should have no problem telling it to me.
Mm-hmm. That's passive aggressive drama. Fuck off with that. Are we 13? Like, no.
I don't. That is my boundary. If you are going to sit there and subtweet me instead of talking to me, get fucked. We're done. Mm-hmm. I don't want you in my space.
Yeah.
Because I never come off threatening when somebody's like, hey, Raven, like, I want to bring this up. Like, you said something that really upset me, and I want to tell you what it is. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Please tell me so I can, clarify or apologize or make this right however I can. Right? There's a difference.
Yeah.
But people, again, no matter who you are or what you stand for, are going to make a version of you that you are not and believe that version to be true.
Or they put you so up far on their pedestal that every little thing is a mistake. Quote. Not a, you know what I mean? Like, I've had that happen a couple times where you say one little thing and somebody takes it some other direction, and even though you're trying to explain and trying not to hurt somebody actively, they just slam a door. And it's like, okay, that was unhelpful. Thank you.
Yep. And, I used to get really upset, again, because rejection, sensitive dysphoria. Yeah. I used to get really upset for days about these things. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, well.
Yeah. And I know you've kind of alluded to it, but because of your, let's call it 15 minutes of fame, for lack of a better word, because you blew up, you went viral. I'm sure that started to happen immediately. I'm sure it was like half and half. People were like, yes, go Raven. And the others were like, fuck her. Like, I'm sure there was a whole lot of negative shit that came with that.
Oh yeah. There was a lot of people who were in my corner until I made it. And then they were like, Raven ain't shit anyway.
Less than 3.
Thank you for the sub, Joy. I didn't hear what you said at the end of that. I'm so sorry, Raven. Joy cut you off.
No, you're okay. You're okay.
But thank you so much for your
there was a lot of people who were in my circle who were like, yeah, Raven, like, you got this. And then I made it, and they're like, Raven ain't shit anyway. Raven is using black trauma. And I'm like, did I wake up and paint myself this morning? Like, is my trauma not daily? Like, I don't understand you. Please, again, if the math ain't math, and make it make sense.
Yeah.
Did I just automatically become not black enough? I don't know. Like, let me know. Apparently, you're the expert on all things black, so tell me.
Yeah, it was wild. And you know what's funny is that people would come in to my chat and say something about Twitch Do Better, and they would always be like, okay, but like the sub cut. And I'm like, literally, I am so close Like it just became, it got out of control in that way. People totally they totally lost the message in, it was like playing telephone. Like every tweet that got retweeted and quoted or whatever version of that on a social media, it just slowly became about a subcut. And I'm like, and here's the thing is that people didn't necessarily realize that I'm quite literally on your team. Like, no matter how you slice that, that's exactly what I mean. Quite literally on your team. And we've spoken many times and we've been working together for a minute. And I'd be like, literally, y'all, you need to go check yourself. You need to go look at Raven's Twitter. You need to see what is happening right now. And when was that like a year ago or so?
Almost a year, almost a full year.
Wow. It seems like it was like
we are
8 years
11
ago.
months away.
It seems like a lot long ago than that.
Yeah.
Okay, August of last year, yeah.
It feels so far away, and then it feels like last week too.
Yeah. And so I'm honestly just grateful. I am always going to be in your camp. I'm always going to be retweeting all your shit. I have to actively stop myself from retweeting all your shit, or else people would just be like, I'm just following RekItRaven as opposed to Erin. It's the worst. It's literally the worst. You have to be so choosy at how many things you retweet in a day, or else you just annoy the shit out of all your followers, you know?
Right. But I get it.
Yeah. It's hard because you were calling out things that, it's that implicit bias that everybody, it's, you know, it's a buzzword now, but it's important. It's implicit bias that nobody was thinking about. And also, I don't know that there's a phrase necessarily that is attached to this, but celebrating black wins instead of black losses. Celebrating both.
Yeah.
Not just, oh goodness, this has happened again, and retweeting it and falling into that cycle, but then never celebrating the black wins and the black excellence. And that was something that I'm just glad, because that's just your fucking life. You just know this already, but there are so many people around you who might not have never occurred to them. I'm one of them. I've said this to Trish too. I grew up in a super fucking white area. I went to a liberal college and it got better. But again, if these things aren't ingrained with your childhood development, it's things that you just don't see. It doesn't matter that I went to a liberal college that was very diverse. It doesn't matter because I still wasn't seeing. And so you were saying things, you always are saying things that wake people like me up. We're not inherently doing anything wrong, but we're also not realizing how much wrong is still being done until people like you are speaking up about it. And that's just, you're out here doing the fucking hard work, man. Like there's not that many people going as hard as you are in this way, you know?
Well, I appreciate that. Like I honestly, like, I just want to be the person that can inspire my children at the end of the day, right? Like everything I do is for them. Not me about to get emotional up here on this little chat, but like it's true. Like everything I do is for them. Like I want them to be proud of me the most.
Yeah.
Because I never had a mom that I could be proud of. I know that sounds shitty, but it's true.
It's
right?
true.
Like I want to be that figure.
Mm-hmm.
And so just being able to like show them what it looks like to be strong when you are scared, and to say it's okay to be scared is everything for me.
Yeah. It's okay to be both things. It's okay to be whatever it needs to be, which is also something that nobody wanted to say ever. And they still don't want to say it. Only now I feel like a lot of millennials and maybe Gen X are starting to be like, listen, if your first reaction is anger, it's okay. You just have to be emotionally intelligent enough to not react in a violent way. You know, there is a fine line.
Yeah.
Your reaction is valid, or whatever it is. Your emotions are valid. Of course, anger is always valid, but you also have to understand and being scared, whatever the thing is, it's okay. You just have to then translate that into the correct actions and the correct reactions. And that's where people get lost. And I think it was a Twitch streamer who actually put this in their story at one point. I follow so many mental health type of accounts at this point that my brain's fried. I can never remember who shares it, but it's really stuck with me. And it was that anger is just sadness's bodyguard or something like that. That was like a really not poetic way of saying that. But that's, as soon as I read that,
true, though.
It is true. Why are you angry? Well, when you start saying why, get down the list of all of the whys, it comes down to you were scared or sad or upset. And that translated into anger. And that one little thing for me has changed like everything about how I exist. I know it sounds stupid. One little inspiration meme. but sometimes that's what it takes.
But it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just find something that clicks with you, right?
And that was it for me. And I guess my whole point is that I wouldn't be following any of those accounts if it hadn't been for Twitch. At the end of the day.
Yeah, honestly.
Because most of them are streamers. I
definitely understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And even before I started really getting into the music scene on Twitch, a lot of gamers are the same way. A lot of other categories, creatives and whatever the category is, they're all the same way. They'll post that kind of stuff on Twitter and Instagram, and that's been really helpful to me, honestly.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, we've been on for almost an hour. We're probably just a few minutes away from an hour. It's amazing how fast time flies when I'm talking to you.
I know. I know.
There's only like one thing that we didn't touch on, really. And well, I guess two. I lied. There were two things. But honestly, I'll give you an option. Which would you talk about? Which would you rather talk about? The inception of the underworld, and with the charity specifically, the stream team, or because this was one of the things that inspired me to start doing. You're the reason I actually started a Ko-fi and a tarot commission. I think I told you that when I did it, because I was like so self-conscious. I'm like, Raven, I did it. Oh God.
I know. I was so excited. I was like, yeah, fucking do that shit.
So if you have time, I will keep you here all day. If you have time, we can talk about both things. But I would love to know a little bit more about both, either the underworld inception or what your journey with tarot has been like, and doing tarot for people and doing commissions like that.
So we can do both, because I could talk about them both quickly, because I have to go pick up meds, which is fun, but that's what happens when you're neurodivergent like me. But the underworld happened when January 6th occurred.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the moment where I was literally watching live in 2021 the hypocrisy of this fucking nation.
Oh my goodness.
Right? Pokemon Raiders!
I was going to say, I'm like, oh my goodness, hello, Kiger. Kiger, I was just indirectly talking about you. You're one of the people who shares so many amazing mental health memes and like inspirational photos. I was literally just talking about you. We're toward the end of a chat with our friend RekItRaven here, where we're literally talking about a lot of mental health related topics, and we're right at the very end. And so Kiger, if you came in at a really deep time. We were talking about the inception of Raven's charity stream team. So we'll be chatting for maybe another 5 to 10 minutes. So Kiger, thank you so much for bringing your friends in. Will be happy to play a song for you when Raven and I are done with our chat here. But if you gotta go, I understand. I know it's hard. You gotta do all the things after streaming for hours. You gotta pee, you gotta eat, you gotta go to work, all the things. So if any of you choose to lurk and stay, thank you so much. We'll be getting to the music shortly here. And Kiger, if you would like to choose a song, I will happily throw it in the queue as soon as we're doing music in a little bit here. But thank you so much, Kiger, for your raid. Holy giant raid on this day right now. I appreciate you so much. Mwah. And all of your mental health. I almost said hellness, mental hellness. Whoo, mental health awareness.
That's metal as fuck.
The mental hellness.
Mental hellness.
I have a tight schedule. Oh, it's all good, Kiger. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the lurk. yeah, welcome in, y'all. So we're finishing up a mental health chat with RekItRaven, and then we'll be getting to music. So thank you for sticking around. If you want to throw a follow down and come back again, I will be very appreciative. But we're going to continue on with Queen of Mental Hellness. There it is. It's new brand for Kiger. So you came in right as I asked Raven about the inception of their Underworld charity stream team. So if you want to restart, because it kind of got, if you want to hear the whole story, go right ahead.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So it started last year, January 6th, with the blatant hypocrisy of white versus black lives, right? It's not something that I want to talk about, but it's I'm a black person. It's inherently going to be talked about, right? Like, I didn't ask for all politics to politic me as a person, but here we are.
Right.
We watched armed white men storm and break into the Capitol, and there was one casualty. Now, flip that. If you put a black man behind a wheel, the likelihood of him making it out is far less likely.
Mm-hmm.
If you put a bunch of black and brown people in front of the Capitol freaking out like the way these people did, you get my point.
Yeah.
So that was when I was like, no, this is enough. I'm sick of watching this. I'm sick of seeing it. Like, y'all keep telling me that racism is not a fucking thing, but it is. Like, we've seen it and we're watching it happen live now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I started raising money for Color of Change. And a couple of other people started raising money for Color of Change. And we kind of just got together. Like, Highlash was the first one. And then we ended up finding a couple of other people, Waba Streams, Jeer Plays.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a few others who are no longer on the team. But that's how we found Ethan.
Yeah.
And it just grew from there. Like, I was like, I want to raise money for these people because this, as we know it, is not fair. It's not equal. Yes, thank you, Highlash, DVDS, and Kimono. But it's unfortunate, but it falls on us to change it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so it just grew from there. I was like, fine, we did this. What's the next one?
Yeah.
Black trans lives. Absolutely. Because let's talk about it. Black trans women specifically are essentially hunted in this country.
Literally. Mm-hmm.
For existing. Let's raise money for it.
I think that's where I found y'all.
built.
I think that's probably the call out when you were like, hey, I'm looking for people. I think that's where I jumped in.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And then we grew from there, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna need more team leads because I can't do all of this on my own. And it's starting to be a little bit more than me and Highlash can handle because both of us are neurodivergent, and I know, like, I ghost. Not meaning to, but I fucking ghost.
Oh, I do it sometimes too.
We opened up applications for team leads, and we snagged you too. So it's been a really amazing journey just to see a team of alternative people, right? Because I don't look like I'm told I should, and that's fine. But we are a team of alternative people doing the ultimate good.
Mm-hmm.
And I have you to thank for that slogan, by the way.
You're welcome.
'Cause that was dope.
You're welcome. I will listen, I don't have many like shining moments in terms of other people's branding, but I'm pretty happy with that.
That one was really good. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And then with the coffee commissions and stuff, like, I just like doing tarot. Like, I just do. Like, it's just fun for me. So I was like, hey, like, if this is something that you want to do, then do it. But I use my I still have it. It's right next to me at all times. My Modern Witch Tarot.
Yes. Yes.
And listen, I call it the auntie deck for a reason, because this deck will drag people, like snatch your whole wig and everything.
I can confirm,
but do it in a way that it's
deck.
like your auntie coming like
yes.
kind of just patting the couch right next to them and being like, okay, baby, listen, we need to talk.
Yeah, it read Trish to filth one
Auntie
day.
I love
Deck
you, and
gave
this is
me my
why
life.
I'm saying what I'm saying, just so you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's, for me, it's just been fun. It's just been, you know, obviously a little bit of extra income when I do get the commissions, because we're content creators and this is how we make our money. So don't get mad at people for asking for money. I swear to God, miss me with that.
Absolutely.
And it's been nice to genuinely offer perspective on things, right? Because that's, for me, that's what tarot reading is. I can't read for myself because I'm biased as hell.
Yeah.
And I will see what I want to see instead of what needs to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just a nice way to connect. It's a nice way to put things into perspective. And I enjoy it. Like, I think it's fun. And I think anybody who wants to try it should.
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't get into it until January of 2021, I think. Trish brought me my first deck at that point, and I haven't looked back since. It's one of the biggest parts that I like study, and I love learning about it in terms of zodiac, in terms of elements, and I've learned so much about myself in that way, you know? And so when you had, whatever day it was, whenever this was, when you announced that you were like, I'm going to do tarot for, you know, I don't remember what it was. It was like $5 for 3 cards or something. The details don't matter, but I was just so incredibly inspired by that. I'm like, oh my God, I could do that too. Like, I hate being that person, but it's like, I am the person who, if I love somebody's idea, I'm going to imitate it and try to do it justice, you know? And I loved that you put it out there.
Yeah, no, I think people also need to get over the fact that, like, ideas are repetitive. Like, if you're taking an idea and doing it in your own way, there's no harm in it, right?
Yeah. Because no tarot reading is the same.
Like, people can just
especially with this kind of stuff.
Me. So
yeah,
and that's why, like, if people are like, hey, I really like this, can you help me with it? I'm like, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. And when somebody comes into this,
I want y'all to eat too. Like, I want y'all to eat too.
Yeah. If somebody comes into my stream and says, I really like this about your stream, and I'm like, yeah, hit me up in my DMs. I'd love to help you set it up. Like, because I've been like hesitant to reach out to streamers. Like, I really love this about your stream, but I'm not going to be that person who's like, I love this. Help me figure it out. Like, but I also am trying to be on the other side of that. And like, I would love to help you do this kind of thing. But yeah, that was my biggest thing I wanted to quickly ask you about tarot. But I absolutely love that, and I love that I didn't know you were into tarot. And Beta does tarot and oracle as well, and Joy does tarot.
I love that.
I found myself in this circle that I didn't even realize did tarot, and you know what I mean? And I just did a really, really beautiful reading for Lash the other day, and I was like, huh, it was one of them heavy ones, and you're just like, I'm sorry, but I love you, but I'm sorry, but it's good, but I'm sorry, but like, so it's.
I do that all the time. Well versed in that. Listen.
Yeah.
I love you. Here's what's going on, right? And it's just like, I'm not trying to call you out, but the cards are gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Regularly for people that do commissions, I feel terrible. I'm like, if this is what's happening, I'm so sorry, but you have to face it or whatever it is. Like, it's it kind of sucks. And then they're like, ugh, I know. It's like my least favorite and favorite part. Yeah.
I honestly, like, I had to take the like card pull off my channel point redemptions.
Oh.
Because, like, people were just getting red and putting their whole business out there. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah. I did live readings for a charity event, I think a couple months ago, and it was amazing. It was the first time I'd done it. I haven't done it since again, because it was actually really, it did kind of force people to have to put details about their life into the chat that I didn't really foresee that. And I was saying some
Yeah.
really some pretty dark stuff about relationships they were in or having or struggling with, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is a lot, and I don't think anybody was expecting that. So you expect like lighter things.
Red, literally.
Yeah. So
You will get red.
yeah, same.
So,
Right, like Lash,
I
the
had
reading.
to stop doing that.
Yeah, I would love to do that, but like Jen still does it on hers, but hers are more light. Like she'll do like a one card, like they're never like super duper in depth spreads or anything. She tries to keep it as light as possible. Whereas I'm not like that. I'm like,
I do too, but then the cards are like, listen, bitch, if you are not gonna say what I said, don't fucking pull me.
Fair.
And I'm like, ooh. All right.
Yep, fair enough. But I want to get you out of here. It's been just a smidge over an hour, so I appreciate your time so much, Raven. Do you have any final words?
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Please tell everybody when your stream schedule is right now. When can we find you on Twitch next?
The next day that you can find me is gonna be on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have been doing one day a week right now because of my day job, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. But y'all can check me out tonight. Actually, I will be over on Gehenna Gaming playing Morkborg since I do a lot of TTRPG stuff. So if you like dark horror, metal, and tabletop role playing, come check me out. But I will see y'all later.
Yes, and thank you for your time and energy, and I just love your face. Thank you for coming on and chatting.
I love your face. Okay, listen, I love you. Okay.
All right. Mwah. Bye.
Bye, y'all.